With weapons, as with anything else, really good design, when something, a vase, a chair, an automobile, is really well made, it also tends to be beautiful. And the same thing is true of firearms. Once you get past that odd feeling some people have that weapons somehow inspire violence in us, and a kind of metaphysical squeamishness over the necessity of self-defense, both against individuals and against organized political violence, and regret at the necessity that we must kill in order to eat, you notice that they are marvels of engineering and of craftsmanship. If you go to a museum and look at medieval swords, you're so impressed by the metallurgy, by the balance, by the strength, by the sheer wonder that things could be made that did their job so well and so elegantly. And the same is true of firearms. Firearms really are marvels of human ingenuity. I mean, the development of them, from the early flintlocks through percussions to more modern weapons, there's a kind of gracefulness. There's an astounding efficiency in the way that they're made. They really are beautiful objects, and as beautiful objects always do, they inspire the passion of collectors, comparing the finer points. We're privileged to be in the home of a collector and expert. Now, he's asked us not to reveal the location or his identity because he doesn't want burglars being aware that so many valuable things are in the house, nothing to do with any questions of legality. But it is quite an extraordinary collection of long guns and of the handguns that you see behind me, including the classic, gambler's Derringer that Doc Holliday might have had, and also the Beretta that James Bond liked to use, and the Walter PPK that his boss insisted that he carry instead if he wanted to remain on Secret Service duty. And we're going to ask him to tell you a little bit about the guns and what's inspiring about them.
So what we have here is a cross-section of modern sporting guns. What you have in front of you is a Ross rifle. This is the sporting version in .280 Ross, made in Quebec City at the Ross Rifle Company. Originally, the Rosses were military firearms used by our troops in World War I in 303. They were wonderfully accurate, they were magnificently made, and they could not stand the rigors of war because they were just too tight. They'd get stuck. The dirt would get into the action, they'd block. However, as a .280 Ross sporting firearm, the caliber was magnificent. It was the high-velocity king of that era, the 1905-1910. Its demise came when somebody decided to use the very light caliber on Lion. It wasn't made for Lion. The Lion killed the guy, and the .280 Ross went into oblivion. Also from the Winchester Firearms Company, here's an interesting piece. This one is stamped City of Toronto. This was a firearm that would have been used to put down rabid animals around the 1890s to 1920s by the City of Toronto. This is a trade gun. This is what the British, well, trappers generally, would trade the natives at Hudson's Bay posts. These are the guns that they would put on the ground. You'd pile your beaver pelts to the top, and that would buy you the gun. Every now and then you run across something that's unique. The Canadian military experimented with maple stocks for their Canadian produced Long Branch number 4s. This is one of 6. They believe they made 6. Most of them were destroyed in testing. This one's mint, untouched, and I've got it. First World War, this is the Red 9. This was a Mauser broom handle. That's what they call it. In the First World War, the Germans needed more guns. Their standard issue caliber was 9, but the guns originally came in 7.63. They painted a red 9 in the grip so their troops would know to use 9mm ammo. The Japanese were using Nambus, kind of an odd-looking thing, but efficient. 8mm caliber, an odd bullet. This particular unit was made in December 41, so that's always something to little key in. This is the 45, the Alaskan. Made famous because of the Alaskan Gold Rush. Famous cowboy gun, the 1873 Colt single action with original pearl grips. This firearm was made around 1884. And then, of course, you had your regular units, your percussions. You loaded them by unscrewing the barrel up front, putting in your powder, screwing it back together, cocking it, bang, all in brass. You get your first attempt at double actions. This is a Marriott Arms. You just cock it, and every time you cock it, it fires and rotates. And finally, you've got your gun that was made famous by Dirty Harry. This is the .44 Magnum. Oddly enough, they couldn't find a .44 Magnum during the filming. The gun he uses is actually a .41 Magnum. This is a .44. Same frame, same everything. You couldn't tell the difference.